You've probably heard of the red flag gun laws, where it's confiscate guns, ask questions later. And then, of course, you had these even more concerning reports. So, for example, in the Washington Post, reports that the Trump administration is considering a proposal to create a new sub-department called HARPA to use data from Apple Watch's Google Home or Amazon Echo to figure out which citizens have signs of mental disorders related to violence. Now, alternative media went into panic mode, and some even called for Trump's impeachment, because that, of course, would be a major infringement of the Second Amendment. Now, you don't get diagnosed by a mental health professional, you get diagnosed by an algorithm, and that supposedly triggers these red flag gun laws, which could become the norm in the entire United States. And so it's gun confiscation without actual evidence of a crime, without a judge actually convicting you of a crime, or without a mental health professional diagnosing you with a mental illness. Now, so HARPA, this sub-department they want to create, HARPA and these new algorithms could close gaps for the government's use of red flag laws and the threshold of probable cause. But the question is, can an algorithm actually do more than interpret screaming and threats as domestic violence? Can it diagnose someone? The answer is most likely yes. And there's a very old plan to do this. And the plan is called LOMBROSO. Now, the standard algorithms that you see in use today, the standard algorithms, they're not good enough. For example, what we've seen with Cambridge Analytica during the Trump campaign, analyzing the individual through his internet use. Now, these sort of algorithms, they only test for or measure 5 attributes, like how introverted you are, how extroverted you are. But if you keep adding attributes to measure, like, for example, emotional instability or narcissism or antisocial traits, if you add these things and you measure these things, then an algorithm becomes way more powerful and can eventually actually diagnose people. For example, you have Adrian Raine's reference book, Anatomy of Violence. And this book also made the rounds in Hollywood a while ago and influenced various TV shows about serial killers, how hard it is to catch them, and what a blessing it was to have the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit start research in the 1970s. So the basic idea of the LOMBROSO program is to test every citizen for antisocial disorder, meaning psychopathic disorder, to catch them early and limit their rights. Now, hardly any citizen would voluntarily enter some creepy laboratory or clinic and get brain scans and personality tests and genetic tests, but today every citizen is imperceptibly and constantly screened in everyday life by algorithms. So psychometrics is available in different quality levels and has probably been used by the intelligence community for quite some time. Of course, intelligence agencies, they have the best versions of this, of these algorithms. So, of course, some people in the tech community have commented on the Cambridge Analytica scandal, and some have said that these algorithms are not good enough, but we're talking about the difference between standard algorithms on the open market versus intelligence agency algorithms. Now, something that used to take weeks or even months, establishing a psychological profile of a target person, that can now be done automatically on anybody, on any citizen. So Trump himself won the 2016 election partly with the help of psychometrics from Cambridge Analytica, and better algorithms, they test for cluster B category personality disorders such as narcissism, psychopathy, paranoia, or emotional instability. The more data you feed to the internet, the more the code can guess your psychological makeup. Now, in the hands of sane constitutional citizens and institutions, this technology could, of course, be used to diagnose people, to help people, to give them the help they need. This technology could responsibly be used to keep guns out of the hands of psychopaths and malignant narcissists, which is like the only sensible gun control you can really have, right? If you're a psychopath, if you're a malignant narcissist, you should not have firearms. But if you're a psychopath or a malignant narcissist, you should also not be allowed to hold any public office. And so that technology can be used for good and for bad, and this technology should be used in a transparent way to screen people that want to get into government. Like, so you screen people who want to become cops, you want to become judges, who want to become politicians. They have to be tested. That's the most important thing, right? So if you want to hold government office, you want government power, you need to be tested. You need to prove, scientifically prove, over and over again, that you have a conscience, that you are a fully functional human being with empathy and healthy thinking in a normal range. So, in the hands of a psychopathic government and a narcissistic government, this technology will be used to weed out the psychopathic competition and also to attack decent people. Right, because if you have the power over the algorithm, you can manipulate the algorithm to declare people insane who are really sane. Right, so the constitutionalists, those who are unhappy with government, those who want to maintain a constitutional government, those people could be attacked with an algorithm. And of course, almost nobody in this country, nobody in this world is an expert on algorithms and this sort of technology. So that's why government wants to use these tools, because they feel comfortable using these tools. They have all the experts, and the general population, they don't know enough about this technology. So then you had TV shows such as Mindhunter and Manhunt Unabomber. I think both of these shows were on Netflix. And these shows tell you we need modern solutions to catch terrorists and serial killers, but these shows present the state as the only entity that can solve the problem. Adrian Raine, who wrote this book, it's a very good book, Anatomy of Violence. Adrian Raine is half a psychopath himself. And for that reason alone, you have to distrust his solutions. Now, his research is good. He's talking about other people's research. The research is good, but you have to distrust his solutions. So, Donald Trump was allowed to become US president and gain access to the codes for the nuclear arsenal without psychology testing. George Bush became president without psychological testing. Hillary Clinton almost became president without psychological testing. But an ordinary citizen may, in the future, not be allowed to buy a shotgun or an AR-15 or a pistol anymore because of an automated testing by an algorithm. So then you had Geoffrey Ling, HARPA's senior scientific advisor, who told reporters that the plan to his plan would require enormous amounts of data and scientific rigor. So the plan to scan everybody with Amazon Echo and Google devices and everything. The White House refused to comment, but sources told the Washington Post that Trump had responded very positively to the proposal. Trump already announced weeks ago that the Justice Department, along with other agencies and social media companies, will develop tools to detect people who are planning mass shootings. Ivanka Trump recently advertised red flag laws at a fundraiser for Donald Trump's re-election campaign, apparently led by Dick Cheney in Wyoming on Monday. Now, even the toughest Trump supporters are completely shocked about these proposals, comparing them with the social credit system in communist China. And now, as I've told you, this plan is very old. Adrian Raine has written about this in his book, and he's referencing an even older plan and in this book. So this is a very old plan. This is not Trump's idea. If this comes to pass, then this is the actual one deep state who's passing this, and Trump probably doesn't even understand this. Please comment down below what you think, if you have read Anatomy of Violence, which I did, German edition. If you read the book, tell me what you think, and tell me what you think Trump is going to do, or what you will think of Trump if these sort of things come to pass. Subscribe to this channel and share this on social media.